I thought family was supposed to be a safety net. I thought love wasn't measured in dollar signs. But the day my parents looked me in the eyes and called me a disgrace to the family name, just because I chose my dreams over their bank account, I realized the truth. Now, they're standing at my door, crying, and I'm the only one with the power to save them. The air in the dining room felt heavy, cold. It was my 21st birthday, but there were no candles, no laughter. Just the clinking of expensive silver against porcelain. My father, a man who measured worth in stock options, looked at me over his glasses. My mother, she wouldn't even meet my eyes. "Chloe," my father began, his voice like gravel. "We've looked at your transcripts. This photography hobby, it's over. You will enroll in the MBA program tomorrow, or you are no longer a part of this household." I felt a lump in my throat, a burning sensation in my chest. I had spent years capturing the world through a lens, finding beauty in the places they ignored. "It's not a hobby, Dad," I whispered, my voice trembling. "It's my life. I have an internship in New York. It doesn't pay much yet, but..." "Yet?" My mother finally looked up, her face a mask of disappointment. "We don't do yet in this family, Chloe. Look at your sister. A corporate lawyer at 24. Look at your brother. He's already managing the firm's portfolio. And you? You want to live in a studio apartment, eating ramen, taking pictures of strangers? You are a disgrace to our reputation." The tension was a physical weight, pressing down on my shoulders. I looked at my siblings. They didn't defend me. They just kept eating, their silence louder than any shout. They were the successful ones. I was the poorer one, the outlier. "If you leave for New York," my father said, standing up slowly, "you leave with nothing. No trust fund. No car. No phone plan. We will disown you. You will be dead to us." I stood up too, my legs shaking. I realized then, they didn't love me. They loved the reflection I cast on their social status. "Fine," I said, my heart breaking into a million pieces. "I'd rather be poor and happy than rich and hollow like you." I walked out with nothing but my camera bag and a backpack. No one followed me. No one called out. I spent that night in a bus station, crying, the cold plastic seat a reminder of the life I had just left behind. The first year in New York was a nightmare. I lived in a room so small I could touch both walls. I worked 3 jobs, waitressing until 2 a.m., then editing photos until dawn. I was poor. I was exhausted. I was alone. I saw their posts on social media, the galas, the vacations, the designer clothes. They looked perfect. They looked like they had never even had a daughter named Chloe. My sister posted a photo of a new Porsche, captioning it, "Hard work pays off." My brother was featured in a top 30 under 30 list. I blocked them all. I focused on the grit, the raw beauty of the city. I started a series called The Unseen. I photographed the homeless, the laborers, the people my parents would step over without a second glance. It was emotional, it was real, and slowly, people started to notice. But the red flags from home, they started coming in small ways I didn't expect. My cousin sent me a DM, asking if I had heard about the firm. I ignored it. Then an old family friend messaged me, asking if I was okay with what was happening. I deleted it. I didn't want to know. I was building my own world, a world where my value wasn't tied to a ledger. 2 years later, I finally got my big break. A gallery in Chelsea wanted a solo show. I was finally breathing. But that same week, the wall I had built around my past crumbled. I was at a coffee shop when I saw the headline on a discarded newspaper, "Vanderbilt Investment Group under investigation for massive fraud." That was my family's firm. My heart hammered against my ribs. I looked it up. It wasn't just an investigation. It was a collapse. My brother had made a series of illegal trades to cover up losses, and my father had signed off on them. They were losing everything. The mansion, the cars, the reputation. I felt a strange mix of pity and coldness. A few nights later, my phone rang. An unknown number. I answered. "Chloe?" It was my mother. Her voice wasn't sharp anymore. It was broken. High-pitched. Chloe, honey, please don't hang up. I sat on my floor, the shadows of the city stretching across my small apartment. Why are you calling me? I asked, my voice a whisper. I thought I was dead to you. Things are complicated, she sobbed. The house, they're seizing the house. Your father is. He's in a bad state, Chloe. We have nowhere to go. Your sister's firm let her go. They didn't want the association. Your brother, he might go to jail. I felt a sob rise in my own throat, not for them, but for the girl who had sat at that dining table 2 years ago, begging for a crumb of support. And what does that have to do with me? We need help, she pleaded. The lawyers, the debt. We need money, Chloe. We heard your show sold out. We heard you're successful now. Please. We're family. Family. The word felt like a slap. You disowned me, I said, tears finally streaming down my face. You let me sleep in a bus station. You told me I was a disgrace because I didn't have money. Now, you're calling me because you don't have any. Please, she whispered. Don't be cruel. Cruel? I laughed, a jagged, painful sound. Cruel was watching me walk out that door with nothing and not even saying goodbye. Cruel was making me feel like I wasn't worth the air I breathed because I wasn't a lawyer. You didn't want Chloe the daughter. You wanted Chloe the asset. And now that you're bankrupt, you've realized I'm the only asset left. I hung up. I collapsed against the wall, shaking. The betrayal felt fresh again, a deep, aching wound. They didn't want me. They wanted my success to fix their mistakes. The people who threw me away like trash were now treating me like a lottery ticket. I spent the night looking at my photos. The faces of the people who had nothing, but still had dignity. My parents had everything, and they had no dignity at all. I hung up. I collapsed against the wall, shaking. The betrayal felt fresh again, a deep, aching wound. They didn't want me. They wanted my success to fix their mistakes. The people who threw me away like trash were now treating me like a lottery ticket. I spent the night looking at my photos. The faces of the people who had nothing, but still had dignity. My parents had everything, and they had no dignity at all. The next morning, they were there. In New York. Outside my gallery. They looked old. My father's suit was wrinkled, his posture slumped. My mother looked like she had been crying for days. Even my siblings were there, standing awkwardly behind them. The successful ones, looking lost. Chloe, my father said, stepping forward. He tried to put a hand on my shoulder. I stepped back. Don't, I said, my voice calm but hard as ice. We're so proud of you, he said, his eyes darting to the sold-out signs on my work. We always knew you had talent. We were just trying to push you. To make you stronger. The lie was so effortless, it made me sick. You didn't push me, I said, looking him directly in the eyes. You abandoned me. You chose money over your child. And now, money has abandoned you. We're being evicted tomorrow, my sister snapped, her old arrogance flaring up. Are you really going to let your own parents live on the street while you live like this? I looked at her. I lived on the street, I reminded her. Where were you then? You were buying a Porsche. I turned to my parents. I'm not going to give you money, I said. The silence that followed was absolute. I saw the desperation turn into anger, then into fear. But I continued. I have bought a small property. A 2-bedroom cottage in the middle of nowhere. It's modest. It's quiet. There are no galas there. No reputation to maintain. You can live there. I've paid the taxes for a year. A cottage, my mother whispered, horrified. In the country? Chloe, we can't live like that. It's more than you gave me, I said, turning toward the gallery door. It's a roof. It's food. It's a chance to be human. But if you want to keep pretending you're the elite, then you can do it on the sidewalk. I watched them realize the power dynamic had shifted forever. They weren't the judges anymore. I was the one holding the gavel. My revenge wasn't seeing them suffer. It was seeing them be ordinary. It was stripping away the fake prestige they had used to hurt me. I forced them to live the poor life they had mocked, the life they had disowned me for. I walked into my gallery and shut the door. Through the glass, I saw them arguing. My father yelling, my mother crying, my siblings fighting over a suitcase. They were still hollow. But I was full. I sat down in the center of the room, surrounded by my art. The lights were soft, the air was still. I picked up my camera and took one last photo of them through the window, a portrait of greed meeting its end. Resolution is a quiet thing. It's not a scream, it's a sigh of relief. I am no longer the poor daughter. I am Chloe. And I am finally free. If you think family should be about love, not money, hit the like button. Subscribe to hear more stories of justice and revenge. Have you ever been underestimated by your family? Tell me your story in the comments below.